Dr. Rodney and I guess Dr. Burnham, because both of them are doctors, were two Caribbean leaders that seem to have had extraordinary influence. In my view, is kind of like unadvisable to make them such significant people because their ideas weren't tested. Now, if Dr. Williams was a historian, but I guess just like Rodney, they were just like on the knowledge and understanding level, and they weren't too much on the evaluate and maybe evaluation, but like synthesis and analysis levels. Like they were just not up there, and yeah, such that they felt like socialism was the way to go. In Guyana, it was a hopeless case. Jagan was communist, Burnham was socialist, Rodney was socialist. And I don't know if J. Jagan went to London, but I know Burnham and Rodney were in London, and some way they were so young and so impressionable that Britain should have protected these young guys from the Commonwealth, from these professors who influenced them, about the left. Anybody could have seen from way back when, because I was even telling them in Canada, at that time I was living in Canada when the Soviet Union collapsed. I was saying that, you know what, the Soviet Union is about nothing. I don't understand why people are fearful of the Soviet Union. There's not going to be no world war between the Soviet Union and the West. They're just a kind of a rattle or some tempest in a teapot. And you see, so that Burnham, at least, who was the president and had a chance to work things out, become the cooperative republic, the first in the world, socialist, this and that. And he's tied with Cuba and North Korea and China and Russia and Eastern Europe. Soviet Union and Eastern Europe. And somehow they should have seen that it's not going to work. Because philosophy generally of the proletariat bourgeois and the working people become the big swine in the world. People should think about that. Working people, the farmers and the people working in the factory, don't have that kind of mental ability to really move things like they were expecting. So, Engel and Lenin and so on. So they should have seen that, especially Guyana and Cuba, right here in America's background. America is a strong nation, is one of the protagonists of communism. How are you going to try that? It's not going to work, and especially with Guyana. America was giving Guyana almost $1/3 billion US a year, or maybe Guyana dollars. But almost 300 something million. And when he started his nationalizing and all that stuff, it ended up that he just get maybe $250,000, $1/3. So he should have seen that the U.S. blocked loans from the IMF and so on, and then he resorted to house, clothe, and feed with the local stuff. And you don't have the variety, and the people had come to colonialism where they were accustomed to the British standard of living generally. It's not to say that they came out of the mother's womb and they were in obscurity and then they're not accustomed to nothing. Now Rodney, on the other hand, he is going to Grenada and telling Maurice Bishop to stop the repression and this and that and so forth. And he's untested because everywhere, anytime somebody goes socialist, they always end up controlling the press, trying to nationalize things, trying to control the economy. Well, that's it. It's command economy. That's what socialism is. Command economy. They control the economy. And all the leading indicators or the leading industries in the economy, they want to control it, state-run and so on. And they don't understand that people will just sit by, it's a state-run, you got to worry about it, just chill out, as opposed to being an entrepreneurship where the guy's going to try to cut costs and trying to improve things. So Rodney got out to tell Maurice Bishop what to do. But if Rodney had become the president of Guyana, he would have done just what Burnham did. Because when he promised all these things and he comes to power and he can't deliver it and people getting ready to get him out of there, he's going to resort to, this and that if they try to come with a vote of no confidence or whatever, or some way to, sort of recall him or whatever. He's going to try that. You're going to send the army out in the street. You start, doing this and doing that, curfews and so forth. So I think he was just a Mickey Mouse going to tell Grenada what to do, especially when he was in Jamaica and not even an elected member, he was causing riots in the street. That's almost like if you're the government and you're kind of doing what Maurice Bishop was doing. Alright? And so I'm saying that they should have had the foresight to see that socialism, communism would go nowhere. I was telling them that. And as I said in my thing, my presentation, as opposed to Rodney and Burnham, I felt that democracy was the way to go, and capitalism, because this is the Christian way of doing things. I mean, they don't understand the history of the Soviet Union, where they were enslaved, and they all come from this feudal system and all that, and they're accustomed to that, and they never had a chance at freedom and democracy and capitalism. So that, I mean, how do you expect them to have that system as opposed to what they had? Now Gorbachev came out, glasnost and perestroika, and bang, the whole place collapsed. They can't handle that. And Russia come out of it unscathed, perhaps, and has all the semblance of the Soviet Union, the big bad talk and the nuke and the war games and so on. But it's sad to see that people still believe that Burnham and Rodney were the greatest gift from God to man. And I think the greatest gift to God to man was Obama, because he definitely saved the world from collapse and calamity and from a serious round of troubles that we've never seen before. So I don't think Rodney and Burnham are different by any stretch of the imagination, just that one hadn't an opportunity to actualize those attitudes which Burnham has demonstrated that are lurking in his heart, Rodney's heart. They're lurking right in there. I mean, why would you want to go socialist? I mean, I felt like I'm not going to go again to start no political movement, because you can't unseat Burnham. I mean, growing up and seeing what they were doing, subconsciously I know that the only way things are going to change is if it collapses and he dies or something, and the people come to realize that the system don't work and change. But to go in and trying to compete with him, he's going to kill you one way or not. I mean, my understanding is that they will come around and just beat you up. Even if the polls show that you're doing well, you don't have to be bad-mouthing him or threatening him with violence or nothing. As long as he sees that you're a threat and your polls are improving, he's going to kill you. And so Rodney saw what Burnham could do. And I'm saying that if Rodney had a chance, he would have done Burnham the same, because that's the socialist kind of thing: kill people, kill the opposition, and the rest of it. So I think Burnham and Rodney are just the same. They're just dumb. They had no kind of breadth of mind that could really catapult them to where the image they have as all these big, intellectuals in the Caribbean. I think they were just a bunch of jokers. And I think Burnham was a kind of like borderline moron. For the stuff he did. I mean, his homeschooling years didn't endear him to serious challenges and scholarship and so forth. He just had his own way, and he figured like that. He hadn't grown up, because he figured like that's the same thing he could do as a grown up in politics. I mean, maybe he could do it in a country because he could use the military to oppose them and suppress the people. But internationally, them fellas could ride up and shoot up the country, shoot him up, take him to jail and whatever. Well, and I'm not sure why nothing may happen to him with all these killings that was going on. Even the killing of Rodney, they had the evidence. Arrest him. Indict him. Get the Smith guy from South America and bring him and try him and put him in jail. I think that's what the West should have done. But to me, Rodney was just a joke. If he had a chance, he'd do just what Burnham did, and perhaps worse.